What's going on, everybody? This is John Jake Gaming on the mic here, coming at you with quarterfinal action of the FCS Dynasty here in year number 4 of NCAA 06, featuring that next mod, as we got 4 great games, but most notably, this first game, a revenge game here of the national championship last year. We start with number 9 seeded New Hampshire, taking on the number 1 seeded Georgia Southern Eagles. And it is just going to let you know, we're going to have a great episode here today. Stick around for the whole thing. And if you haven't done so already, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button as well if you have to be brand new. As Icata Wood's going to try to start things out, trying to throw a pass over the right-hand side, but it's actually going to be intercepted by Sean Allen. And New Hampshire will be set up pretty well, starting at the 36-yard line. We'll see if the true freshman Bruno Baggio can get some points on the board. Few plays later, 3rd and 10, throw into the right-hand side, but it's going to be intercepted as well. And that will be picked off by Williams. And we see a mirage of interceptions to start this game. Both Bruno Baggio, the true freshman, and Icata Woods, the senior redshirt, starting off on not so great footing, and neither team still has not scored here in the first quarter of action, as Brian Hall will come in and get his second sack of the season. He's been getting a lot of tackles, but not a lot of sacks, so he'll get that one recorded, as New Hampshire will take back over, and we'll have a chance to finally get some points on the board. Dumps it off to the tailback, and that is going to be, it looks like it's J.D. McCoy, the sophomore custom, that will get the scoring going, and the defending national champions will take on the lead against the national runner-up from last season. Now, can Icata Woods finally get his revenge? He goes, pitches it out to the right-hand side. Blake Williams, he's out in the open field. He's going to make Otis Grip miss in open field, and does pick up the first down. He will find himself in New Hampshire territory. And it's a fresh set of downs for the Georgia Southern Eagles. As a couple plays later, 2nd and 7. It's another. Oh, it's a reverse. Blake Williams out in the open. He's got blocks. Josephi Krakowski with the key block. And that's going to be a touchdown for Georgia Southern. Blake freaking Williams. They go reverse. They actually reverse it. How about that? Going into the bag of tricks here in the quarterfinals. You think they want to take down the national champs? I certainly think so. And Icata Woods, after a failed New Hampshire drive, they will take the lead and have a chance to extend that lead as well. 90 seconds left in the first half. Icata Woods throws it up and finds Dallas Whitaker in the end zone. So Georgia Southern, they extend their lead here in this first quarterfinal game here of this episode. And it's going to be 21-7. But 55 seconds left. This offense can also score in a hurry. Can Bruno Baggio remain composed? Dropping back, facing some pressure. Looks over to the left-hand side. He finds his receiver. It's going to be caught over the outstretched hands of DeAndre Dowdell II. And that's a first down for New Hampshire. A big first down as well. But they will not be able to do anything on that drive. So the score does remain 21-7. Big moment here for New Hampshire. You do not want to see this slip away. This is a national championship defense on the line, for Pete's sake. And right now, huge moment for New Hampshire. 3rd and 5. Baggio looks left, but he's going to be intercepted. Threw it right into the hands of the corner. And that's going to be Baggio's 2nd interception thrown on the season. Tough break. And Georgia Southern will take over and eventually march their way down the field. 5-yard line. Blake Williams, he's going to get the carry in the red zone. And will take care of the rest of the business. And Georgia Southern, they will extend their lead. 28-7 is going to be your score. And they certainly look like the number 1 seed. As Bruno Baggio desperately trying to get something going. But in the second half, they were playing good defense. But, you know, second half, though, this Georgia Southern defense on another level gets yet another sack. 4th and 31. You want to go for it. You're down by 3 scores, but when you're in the back of your own end zone practically, you just got to get rid of that football. And Georgia Southern, they'll be able to run out most of his clock. So really not looking good for New Hampshire, but they will get a couple of big plays off at the very least. That's a nice throw over the middle of the field, but just needed more of those during the course of this game. And you can see the stats for the true freshman. He has struggled in this one. 1 touchdown and 2 interceptions. As Baggio drops back, looks over to the right-hand side. He's going to throw it up and throws yet another interception in order to close things out. That fat lady, she might be singing right now. And ladies and gentlemen, we are going to have a new national champion here in year number 4. As the defending national champions, the New Hampshire Wildcats, they will fall to Georgia Southern in the rematch of last season's national championship game, 31-7. And the crazy thing is, New Hampshire started the scoring. That's the crazy thing in all of this. Georgia Southern, they respond 31 unanswered points after that, and that will take them to 15-0. The Eagles now, they are on a 15-game winning streak, with their last loss coming in the national championship. But who will have the pleasure of taking on the number 1 team in the country? We now go to the 4-5 matchup here in the quarterfinals. Kind of chalking this part of the bracket, as Eastern Kentucky, the number 4 seed, they handled their business against SMU, shut down Jesse Young, whereas San Diego State, they were in a battle in the last episode. They were taking on Eastern Washington, who was only in 21 seed. They were actually down against Eastern Washington in the 4th quarter. So we'll see if San Diego State can get off to a better start. And it looks like the answer might not be a resounding yes after all, as your custom Marshawn Palmer, the sophomore, is going to get into the backfield and bring down Ryan Vaughn. But we still have no score, though. Later in the 1st quarter, Vaughn, he throws one up in the right-hand side, looking for Jonathan Bowser. And Bowser's had a great season so far, don't get me wrong, but you can only do so much when that ball is dangerously overthrown. And that's exactly what we saw right there. Eastern Kentucky is going to get the interception. They will take back over, but they won't be able to do anything with that possession. So San Diego State, they still had the football, but thankfully both defenses have really stepped up today. No scoring here after 1 quarter of action thus far. Ryan Vaughn is feeling it, man. He's been sacked a lot in this game already. We'll cut to the last minute in the 1st half, as we're going to see Cameron Coates try to run for the 1st down, want to use his legs to get outside the pocket, but San Diego State, they had some great contain there in the pockets, and they're not going to be able to get so much as a field goal. San Diego State will eventually get the points going on the board. 3-0 still going to be your score. But then Cameron Coates tries to attack deep downfield, finds Lonnie Workman, and he's going to work pretty hard to get that interception. And San Diego State, once again, they will take back over. Another turnover for the Eastern Kentucky Colonels, as Vaughn, he can throw it down the left-hand side. It's intercepted, though, and the turnovers continue to happen, it seems like. There's not even a lot of turnovers, only 3 turnovers in the game, but, you know, one of those rare games where you see as many turnovers as you do points. That is really interesting to see. So now Eastern Kentucky, they'll try to get something going, and they eventually do. Just a field goal, though, so still a tie ball game, 3-3, could go either way. And then his receiver's going to get out into the open field. That does go for a 1st down. Haven't seen a lot of those from the San Diego State offense today. They average over 300 yards through the air per game. They're at less than 100 right now. But they do drive to about the 28-yard line, as Vaughn looks over in the middle of the field. He finds his man into the end zone. Touchdown, San Diego State. And the Aztecs get another one on the board, firing on over the middle of the field too. So San Diego State takes the lead. Can Eastern Kentucky get their first offensive points of the game as well, as Coates looks towards his favorite receiver. Looks like Chris Vaughn. No, it's not Chris Vaughn. It looks like it's Leon Rose. How about this? Rose coming up and making a catch out of the backfield, but their drive will end up stalling out. But San Diego State, they cannot run out the rest of his clock, so it leaves one last gas of air for Chris Vaughn, who just went into the laundromat because he put him in a spin cycle. Touchdown, Eastern Kentucky. And just like that, the Colonels have just tied this football game. But it left too much time for San Diego State as it sets up a last-second field goal for the Aztecs. This is from 43 yards. 55 seconds left. Can he knock it through the uprights? The kick is up. It looks good, and it is going to be good. And with less than a minute left, the Aztecs, they take the lead. One last chance for the Colonels. A spot in the semifinals on the line. Cameron Coates under center. He's got bunched to the left. He drops back. He's got a little time. He's going to try to run for the first down. He fumbles it, though. There's a scramble for the football. And Cameron Coates, when it matters the most, puts the football on the ground. And that is going to be a heart-wrenching loss for the Eastern Kentucky Colonels. As San Diego State, they will win a bitter defensive battle. The Aztecs win 13-10, so not as a lot of scoring as we saw in the first quarterfinal game, but it will be the Aztecs that, finally exercise those playoff demons. They've been a number 1 seed the past 3 years, but they've been bounced early all 3 years, and they finally are making a deep run. So the Aztecs will be going to the semifinals, and they will be facing off against the number 1 seeded Georgia Southern Eagles. So now we got one side of the bracket set. Let's see if we can get that other side taken care of as well. As Southeast Missouri State, the number 7 seed, they will be taking on the Southern Jaguars. Southern comes in as the number 2 overall seed, but Southern, they were in danger of losing this their playoff game in the previous episode. They nearly lost to Temple. Meanwhile, Southeast Missouri State, they saw an upset in the first round. So they got to play Utah State against Central Michigan, and they easily beat Utah State. But they got a really good quarterback in Justin Jones and pace as well. Their tailback. This is one of the toughest backfields to deal with in the entire FCS. That's why Southern is where they are right now, that number 2 overall seed. We'll see if Southeast Missouri State, their defense, can come through. Goal line situation later on. Pace is going to get the handoff, and it's going to be some tough running, but Pace is going to find his way into the end zone. Touchdown, Southern, and the Jaguars get the scoring going on their opening drive. We got a 7-0 game. Following the extra point that was successfully made, though, Southeast Missouri State, they will be touching the football for the very first time, as it looks like Lonnie Scott down the sideline, making everybody touch his dust. Touchdown, Southeast Missouri State. And is back to being a tie game. But will the defense be able to make some plays? As this defense, that's a big concern. You do not want to get gassed, especially by the Southern offense. They can really make you pay for it on the ground. And Justin Jones, he's doing just that. He's just handing it off to his running back. Let him do the work. Is now 1st and 10 from the 41. Jones drops back, looks over to the left-hand side, but it's going to be intercepted down the sideline. But Justin Jones is going to be bringing him down. So touchdown saving tackle, but at the same time, just a tough break there. As now, Southeast Missouri State, they actually do not get anything off of that turnover. But Usman Lewis is going to get something off that tackle. Oh my, did he line up Justin Jones like a Christmas tree. We still got a tie game though, as Travis Johnson will now come out onto the field. He's going to try to lead a drive that will finally give the Red Hawks the lead. A lot happening here in this first quarter for sure. But we jump into the second half, as after the first half, not really much happened. So jumping right into the second half, Southeast Missouri State, after that big throw by Travis Johnson, they do get a field goal, but they're going to get more than a field goal to start the second half, though, as Southeast Missouri State is going to throw a huge touchdown, Travis Johnson just throwing one up in the air, throwing it as far as anyone can see. Joseph Pierre Martin, the sophomore, custom and coverage, lost it in the air. And it looks like Southeast Missouri State, they're starting to pull away a little bit. It's time for Justin Jones to respond, and he'll start this drive off extremely well, as Southern is actually doing a better job. They've gotten more offensive yards than Southeast Missouri State, but Southern not able to finish drives, so that's really been the difference thus far. Southeast Missouri State, however, they look like they're ready to take over this game, as Tom Bryant, he's going to be able to moss his defender. Again, Joseph Pierre Martin getting exposed, but that drive stalls out as well, and Southern will take over inside the 10-yard line, though. Lots of room for Kobe Pace to try to work with, but he does get absolutely walloped. But Southern does get out of their own goal line, but facing 3rd and long. Justin Jones throws one up into the air, and it's going to be caught. Touchdown, Southern. And the Jaguars are going to be right back in this football game. Justin Jones provided with just enough time, and it's back to just a one-score game. Travis Johnson, he knows he's going to have to score on this drive. Can he get it done? He's going to start by throwing a great ball over the middle of the field. First down. Find that soft spot in the zone coverage. And now in Southern territory, Johnson looks to throw again. He does. Looks to the left-hand side. He's got, oh man, it's Leon Scott in the open field. It's caught for a touchdown too. Southeast Missouri State, their offense, they're going to respond as Travis Johnson just trusts his receiver to make a play, and that's exactly what happened. Now the pressure's on the number 1 quarterback in high school football. Back in the year 1 recruiting class, but a critical mistake there as Justin Jones going to put the football on the ground. It's going to be recovered by Southeast Missouri State. So the Redhawks, they can now put a dagger in Southern's playoff hopes. We'll see if that happens. 3rd and 6. Dropping back. Johnson looks over to the right-hand side. He's got a man. He's going to get some big yardage as well. Again, Joseph Pierre Martin with a touchdown-saving tackle. That's a wide receiver on a linebacker. That's barbecue chicken every single time. As now, 1st and goal from the 5-yard line. Is going to hand it off to the tailback, Thomas Moore, who's going to be rumbling and stumbling his way into the end zone. Touchdown, Southeast Missouri State. And the Redhawks, they are flying as well, now up by 17 points. But Southern, they're not going to give up so easily. They're going to try to get down the field as quickly as possible. But that sack is not going to do them any sort of favors, as he'll get his troops back to the line quickly. Jones going with a play action, 2nd and long. Got some time, throws over the right-hand side, finds his receiver, and it's going to be dropped right into the bucket. That's a 1st down for the Jaguars. And listen, it's not like Justin Jones having a terrible game. You know, just the rest of the team hasn't really stepped up to where they need to be. But, you know, that sack is not going to help them. They're going to be forced to take a timeout. So now, 2 timeouts left to work with, depending on when they score. They might not get the ball back if they don't get successful in their onside kicks. But first, they got to score. Jones looks over to the left-hand side, finds his receiver. That is Kobe Pace with the reception inside the 5-yard line. That's a nice move there by the running back to create some space. So now, 1st and goal. Jones dropping back. He's going to sidestep his way into the end zone. It's just a 2-possession game now, but they will need some onside kicks and a couple of miracles along the way if Southern wants to come back and win this football game. Nice juke, though, in the open field, but those miracles do not happen, though. They are unsuccessful in the onside kicks, and the Southeast Missouri State Redhawks, the number 7 seed in the FCS playoffs, they will pull the upset on Southern, and they will be going to the semifinals. And just a good game by Southeast Missouri State, a team effort. You know, they were outgained by Southern by, almost 100 yards, but the real key in this one winning that turnover battle, that's the true difference. So the final game in this episode has Tennessee Martin, the biggest Cinderella that is still remaining in this tournament. They are the number 19 overall seed. They will be taking on the number 6 seeded James Madison Dukes. And it was in this stadium last year that James Madison fell. They played up against Georgia Southern, who eventually went on to the national championship game after beating Rice. But James Madison was blown out at this point last year. Can they finally exercise those demons and get to the semifinals? We'll start with Stephen Rogers starting things on the offensive side of football. He's going to throw it up into double coverage, and it's still going to be caught. That is Brad Ondrauzi, the sophomore that is going to catch that one in double coverage, and eventually leads to a red zone opportunity where we get a rare fullback sighting here at James Madison. That is Davidson that gets the carry on the goal line. I'm sure not the expert is out there somewhere smiling about that prospect. As now Tennessee Martin is going to have to get to work here. This is a very potent offense that James Madison has. So if the Skyhawks are not careful, they could very well be blown out of the building. That's not how you want to start this game, with a sack. We'll see if Donnie Jacobs can get positive yards this time around. And it's going to be a positive. But for the other team, Jeremy Stuckey is going to get the interception. And the last thing that you wanted to do was that. You cannot do that. Give James Madison extra opportunities. That's exactly what happened. And now Stephen Rogers with a chance to make this a 2-score game. End zone. And it's going to be caught. Touchdown, Dukes. That is going to be the junior custom, Jody Gentry. And it's 14-0. It's now 1st and 10 as we see Rogers throwing to the left-hand side. He's going to find his tight end, which is the Crumb Bucket, Kevin Crumb, who now puts Tennessee Martin in Tennessee Martin territory. That is a nice play action, by the way, there by James Madison. As we go to a couple plays later, a 3rd down, but James Madison's been perfect on 3rd downs. That will not be happening anymore, though, as Chris McClellan is able to get that penetration in the middle of the offensive line and will prevent James Madison from scoring again. But can Tennessee Martin put points on the board? We talk a lot about this James Madison offense. This defense is a pretty good unit too. As Donnie Jacobs drops back to pass, he's going to be sacked yet again. That will be 4th down. The Skyhawks, they are going to have to punt again. And this punter is not the most impressive punter on the face of the planet. His punt average less than 38 yards a punt. This could mean trouble. Punt is in the air. It seems like a good one, but David Thorne receives it. Makes a couple of tackles miss. Could make a 3rd one. He just runs away from him straight up, and unless there's a flag, he's going to be gone like a girl in a country song. And there is not. So that's a touchdown for the junior wide receiver, David Thorne. And now 21-0 is going to be your score. Tennessee Martin in serious danger of being ran off this field, but there's still a little bit of fight in this team. They're not going to quit. That's why they're here. And Chris Gentry finally breaks the goose egg off the scoreboard. Donnie Jacobs to Chris Gentry. And that was right where it needed to be. The perfect throw. And James Madison back to just being up by a few possessions. So now 24-7 being your score with 2 minutes left to play in the first half. Chris McClellan does get his 2nd sack of the game. That's exactly what you want to see. Get those sacks, get those stops on defense, and claw your way back into this game. Jacobs throws over the middle, but it's going to be intercepted by the true freshman custom, Jose Piola. And that's a 1st down for the James Madison Dukes. And less than 2 minutes left to play. Great field position. Rogers wants to attack deep. He's going to find a receiver in Brad Ondrauzi. He's having an excellent game today, and that is going to continue. As James Madison, they will get a field goal off of that. 27-7 going to be your score. But Tennessee Martin is also interested in getting points up on the board before the end of the first half. Is now Chris Gentry going to get his troops down, get him to the left-hand side. It's going to be a pitch. And Donnie Jacobs will at least put points up on the board quickly. So Tennessee Martin does remain in striking distance unless we see a last-minute Hail Mary from James Madison up in the air. It's David Ford. Huge catch. Is it going to be a touchdown? No, it's not a touchdown. But with 9 seconds left now, James Madison, they can score again. And the coverage wasn't even that bad. That's the crazy part. David Ford is just significantly bigger. Like, there's nothing you could do about that. So James Madison, they will have one more shot at the end zone. Maybe two, depending on the play. Dropping back. Rodgers got some time. Fires over the middle and finds David Ford once again. Touchdown, James Madison. And the Dukes put up 34.5. And here's the scary part. They also received the football to start this second half. So like I said, really in danger of getting ran off the field as David Ford actually made that catch. He does fumble it, but look at how many guys are around him. That was triple, quadruple coverage. And even though he did fumble the football and Tennessee Martin still has the ball, you know, how you respond to David Ford? Like, how do you stop him? Besides making him fumble the football. That's going to be a tough one for whoever, James Madison does have to face if they end up winning this game. But Tennessee Martin, after the turnover, Donnie Jacobs going to try to get things going. Nice throw over to the left-hand side. That'll at least put him into field goal range to try to cut this down a little bit. But at this point in the game, they're looking for touchdowns, not field goals. First and goal. Going to try to run it with a toss play out to the right-hand side, but that gets absolutely obliterated. So they did have to settle for a field goal. And it's going to be 34-17. So still a free possession game, but, you know, when you're facing a deficit, any points scored is going to really help, especially when this Duke's defense is rolling like it is right now, and their offense, y'all know how that offense is, especially with David Ford. Ford has been out of his mind. As now, speaking of that offense, James Madison's back out onto the field. They will run the football. They give it to Marcus Bryant, but he might have put that football on the ground. He does. And Tennessee Martin, they are going to recover the fumble. You hate to see it. As now, Tennessee Martin takes back over with 43 seconds left. They're trying to put more points on the board. The tailback's going to get another carry. And Emmanuel Lee gets his first tackle of the entire game. He really got the most out of it. And now 34-17, still your score after 3 quarters of play. And Emmanuel Lee is really starting to take things over, forcing a third down. And the Skyhawks have struggled on third down. They will try to run for it. It's fumbled, and it's going to be Jose Piola with the recovery down the sidelines. He's going to take it to the crib. He actually does. Touchdown, James Madison. The Dukes get another one up on the scoreboard. And just a bad break. They had the first down. It was fumbled in a spot to where none of the Skyhawk players can get it. And the lead is even bigger. Donnie Jacobs just trying to get something going on the offensive side. They haven't been terrible today, but when your defense is giving up 40 plus, you've got some issues to work through. It's now 3rd and long. Jacobs drops back. He's going to face some serious pressure, and it's going to be dropped by Anthony Bain, who will be getting his 2nd sack of the game. Bain just screaming off the quarter, and the running back could not pick it up in time. And the Skyhawks, they will go for it. They don't have a choice, and not even a chance to make anything happen there. Anthony Bain gets his 3rd sack of the game, and James Madison now can run out some of this clock. That's what they're looking to do as they get it down to the last few seconds of the play clock, but they choose to throw the football. This is an interesting decision That might have been to pad the stats of David Thorne a little bit. That's another touchdown pass for him. So James Madison, they win the football game. They win convincingly. They win 48-17. It was a blowout, and we will be seeing them take on the Red Hawks of Southeast Missouri State. A battle between custom coaches. That'll be exciting to watch. So now we find ourselves down to just 4 teams that are remaining in the FCS playoffs. We are getting down to the legitimate national contenders. Who will eventually win that national championship? New Hampshire? No. Georgia Southern? San Diego State? Southeast Missouri State? Or James Madison? Those 4 teams are your FCS national championship contenders. And next episode, we get a little bit closer to finding out who's going to win this thing. Next episode, we will have the semifinal games that will determine who goes to the FCS national championship. I hope you enjoyed today's episode of the quarterfinals. If you enjoyed this playoff action, make sure you go ahead and smack the like button. If you love what you're seeing here as well as throughout the rest of my channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button as well. This is John J Gaming on the mic signing off, but hoping you're all out there having a good one. Take care, everybody.